Alright, you ready for this? Shit. You want to go camping, huh? You heard about it. Maybe some of your friends went, but oh wait, how am I gonna get there? Am I gonna sleep on the floor? Who's gonna set up my tent? Do I have to shit in a ditch? Yeah, I used to be like that too. And then I did it, and it was so fun. And let me tell you, it was easy. Yeah, it takes a little bit of planning, but just about as much planning as you're gonna do for any other weekend trip where you have to get a hotel. And my first time I went a little overboard, but it's normal. And now that I've gone a few times, now I can do it with the snap of a finger if I want to. I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do if you wanna go camping, especially for the first time, what you need to bring, what you probably should bring, and what you can get away with just leaving at home. Before we move on, just to clarify, this video is for car camping, meaning you drive to the campsite, you have your car there, literally like 5 feet away from you, so you can always get stuff from that if you need to. This is not for backpacking, where you're literally living out of the stuff that's on top of your back. That's a bit more complex, and I don't think most of y'all are ready for that, and that's not what this video is for. But we will get to that in a future video if you guys enjoy this one and want to see that. So here is what you need for car camping. Well, first, what could it be? You need a car. You need a way to get to the campsite, a way to get back. And that could be really easy for some of you because most Americans have a car. Could be harder for some of you, like if you live in New York City like me. Thankfully, my parents live just across the pond in Jersey, so I can just go there and borrow the car for the weekend if I need it. If you're not in a lucky situation like that, or your parents hate you, which is fine, sorry to hear. There's a lot of mommies and daddies out there for rent. We got Hertz, Enterprise, you know the deal. Get a car rental and you can still go camping. Once you've secured your car or a rental car, the next thing you need is shelter for the night. Now you could sleep in your car. I did it once, wouldn't recommend, got kind of claustrophobic. I wouldn't necessarily call that camping. So you'll need a tent. Opinions vary on what type of tent you need. Experts will say you need some fancy, schmurdy, thermo burning, 45-degree, fancy ass tent. Now, myth bust number 1, that you need a fancy tent or fancy equipment to go camping. I literally got my tent from Walmart. I think it was $22. I've gone on like 5 camping trips since then, and it's been completely fine. You don't need a fancy equipment, fancy tent. Now, if you're gonna be staying somewhere really cold, like the Andes Mountains, yes, you probably need a nice tent, so you should do your own research, figure that out. But if you're staying somewhere generally temperate, like upstate New York, like where I'm going to the Catskills, then you'll be fine with just any old tent. And if it is really cold, you should probably just have some hoodies and jackets with you. And we're gonna cover that in all the packing stuff that you need in the rest of this video. And I'm gonna put the tent that I have in the description under this video, just in case you wanna buy a cheap one. Once you have the car and the tent, what you need is the actual campsite. So that's the next thing you wanna do. You want to book the campsite for when you're trying to go camping. So pick a weekend, pick your dates. If it's going to be somewhere in peak season like summer or fall, which I assume is most of you guys, if you want to go, especially during the fall, if you want to see the foliage and the leaves, it's very pretty. That's why I'm going camping, and that's usually when I go camping. If you're going during peak times, you'll want to book your campsite at least a couple months in advance. Depending on the campsite, they release their calendars at different times throughout the year. There are some really nice campsites, and then there are some not so really nice ones, but I've linked some of my favorite ones also in the description below, just for you. Myth bust number 2. Am I gonna have to shit in a hole? No. Most campsites I've stayed at literally have such clean bathrooms. Yes, full bathrooms, not porta potties. They usually also have showers. That being said, I usually don't shower because I usually only camp for one night, so I can just kind of get away with it, and I'm already packing so much other stuff. Yeah, I know, deal with it. All the campsite bathrooms that I've been to have been nicer than the bathrooms at my work or gym, which honestly is just saying stuff about my gym and work bathrooms. Those gotta be taken care of. Anyway, yeah, they have bathrooms and showers. So that wraps up our video, because that's pretty much all you need for camping. Technically, you could just book your campsite, get your car, drive over to your campsite, pick up some takeout on the way, sleep in your tent, eat your takeout, boom, boom, bang. Done. But that doesn't sound really fun, right? You want the full camping experience, so here is all the stuff that you should bring if you want to have the full camping experience. First, you want a sleeping bag. Under your tent is gonna be literally rocks and dirt, so you don't want to sleep literally on the ground because it's gonna be kind of rough, although I'm usually fine with it depending on who you are. You might want some more insulation, but get a sleeping bag. Again, any old Walmart one would do. This one was $15. There are sleeping bags with a whole bunch of fancy smancy like temperatures that they keep you warm at. Again, I would say do your own research. I linked the cheap one in my description if you're on a budget. But again, if you do get the cheap one, definitely bring some extra hoodies or jackets in case it does get really cold at night depending on where you're staying. Next, you want your toiletries like toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, shower stuff if you're gonna shower. There are water faucets all over the campsites themselves. You'll need to find one once you get to the campsite. There's usually a map that they give you and you can find the faucet. You can use the water there for brushing your teeth, or you can go to the bathroom. Now I know why you want to go camping. I know, because it's the same reason I do. We all want that nice moment under the stars with the campfire lit, marshmallow roasting, an Instagram story to give everyone else FOMO, and you can get that. But to do that, you will need to start a fire, and that's probably the hardest part of camping. Personally, I don't know how to start a fire. I've tried it a few times. It's kind of hard. I usually let my Boy Scout friends handle that. But if this is your first time or your second time where you just don't want to deal with actually starting a fire, they have solutions out there. It's 2024. They have insta burning charcoal, fire starter, easy wood, things like that. Again, you can find it at any department store, Target, Walmart. Just grab some of those. If you want to get some actual wood to put on top of that so that the fire catches and you don't have to keep burning your insta burn stuff, which can be a little bit expensive, you can get that as well. So get that stuff, and all you need is a lighter and the insta burn charcoal or fire starter, and you got yourself a makeshift fire. Oh, sorry. Next is your food situation. Now, there's a whole bunch of different food that you can make when you go camping. I usually like to keep it pretty simple. Having a bunch of snacks, usually not this. Jerky, trail mix, things like that, just for snacking purposes. Now that you have your fire started, you want to figure out your grill or grate situation. So when you go to the campsite, they're really just gonna give you usually this wooden or not wooden, definitely not wooden, concrete box area where you're supposed to start your fire, and sometimes they have like a grate on top of it that you can use. I would recommend you bring your own grate so you can clean it, and it'll be cleaner than the ones that are probably already there. The fire will just heat up and you can put your food, whatever you're grilling, right on top of it. You can also bring like a jet fuel or those like fancy burner things. This time we upgraded to our little own propane grill because we have a bigger group. Not a requirement. You can just put the grate that you have on top of the fire box that they have at your campsites. Again, it's going to depend on the campsite. Once you have that set up, I usually opt for pretty easy foods like burgers, hot dogs, chicken, just stuff that you can throw onto the grill. You can bring veggies and like buns and cheese and stuff. For that, you will need a cooler to keep it cold. Now, depending where you're going, if it's already cold, maybe you might not even need that, but you'll probably want a cooler just to keep all your stuff cold and fresh. Especially for the meat, you probably will need a cooler. And you can make really nice burgers, really nice hot dogs, simple food, but really good food because you're gonna get that like really nice char on it from the fire that you started. Oh, camping is so fun. And don't forget marshmallows. That's my favorite part of camping. I usually have so many marshmallows when I go camping. I'm gonna keep a track of the amount of marshmallows that I eat this time. Usually if I had to put an over under, I think it would definitely be over 25 marshmallows. Now I've seen people have huge feasts, buffets when they go camping. I looked up recipes. People were making kebabs, veggie sticks, and platters, and soup. My friend, when I first went camping, pulled out his soup and his stovetop personal stove, and we were making soup and eggs and a whole bunch of fancy stuff. Don't knock it till you try it, by the way. The soup is fire, especially when it's really cold at night, and again, you're under the stars. Soup is great. But again, you don't have to go that fancy. Depending on how much money you have, how much you're willing to spend on this endeavor, you can get a personal stove, so you can do stuff like that. Not a requirement. Next, you'll want a battery pack or two and a cable, because guess what? There ain't no outlets out in the forest. So if you want to charge your phone, any other electronic devices you're bringing, you'll need a portable charger. But again, your car is going to be literally 10 feet away. If you don't have it, you can always use your car battery to charge your phone. I will say, don't get too reliant on having your phone because the service is straight dog shit, especially in the forest. So don't get too used to having your phone. And also, camping is to disconnect. Maybe you should meditate, maybe you should read, take a walk in the nature. Remember why you're going in the forest in the first place. Just get used to the fact that you probably won't have great service in the forest. So that's why you should probably subscribe to my channel right now while you still can. Some other general stuff that I would recommend: bring a first aid kit. I usually bring some Tylenol just in case someone gets sick, hand warmers if it ends up being really cold. And this one's really important. You want to bring a flashlight or two just as a backup. I usually use like a headlamp. Now, this might sound this is upside down. Now this kind of might sound like overkill, but it is going to be really dark while you're there. You're not going to have any lighting. There's no like lamps around the campsites. So you're going to, when you're walking around, when it gets dark after literally like what, 6, 7 p.m., you're going to need a way to see if you're doing any cooking or you're getting into your tent trying to go to your car. Otherwise it's gonna be really spooky. Even with the lights, it is a little bit spooky, so if you're scared of the dark, be prepared for that. But also it's really fun. That the spookiness is kind of what adds to the fun. Imagine going to the campsite with your grown-ass friends and you guys are all just like flashlighting around trying to scare each other. That's what camping is for. I would recommend you pull pranks on your friends in the dark. That is one of the best ways to have fun while you're camping. Now, you are surrounded with people, so just be respectful of them. There are people that usually go camping are families, kids, you know, just generally people with money and resources. So you're not going to get jumped at the campsite, so you shouldn't worry about that. Maybe by a bear, but that's about it. If you are worried about bears, just remember this one rhyme that I always learned. If it's black, fight back. Black bears get scared. You want to be really big, scare them away. If it's brown, lie down. Brown bears, you're not going to beat in a fight. They're really small. I mean, they're really big and they're scary and they're just going to rip the shit out of you. So if you do see a brown bear, I hope to God you don't. And depending on where you're going, probably not going to see a brown bear. At least on the East Coast, never see any brown bears. I've never seen a bear, actually. So that shouldn't be something you're worried about. But if it's brown, lie down. You'll be fine. And if it's white, good night. Because if you see a polar bear, it's kind of capped. Unless you're going to Antarctica, you ain't seen no polar bears. And next you want to have a light but big bag that you can store all your camping stuff in, or other stuff. If you're going on a hike, you need to carry some stuff. You'll definitely want to have a bag with you. Bring some snacks for the hike, bring a rain jacket. You don't have to go hiking. If you want to just go camping for the vibes, that's fine. If I'm near a mountain or a scenic view, I'm trying to be on top of that shit. So I always go hiking when I go camping, but that's a personal preference type of thing. And again, you'll want some hiking pants or any other pants that you don't mind getting dirty. You'll want a rain jacket, an outerwear jacket that again, you don't mind getting dirty. And then just bring extra layers. So like those thermals, I'm talking joggers, hoodies, sweatpants, vests, whatever is gonna keep you warm at night. And lastly, like I said, since you're probably not gonna have too much service and you're there to disconnect, bring games. You don't want to get bored. This is a tarot set that I have. We usually have code names. We usually have sports, depending on if you have a campsite that has a basketball court or other courts. You can bring a basketball. We brought spike ball just because we're like athletes, you know? We like to just like be athletes like that. You can bring cards. You can bring whatever you want, whatever games you like to play. But again, not a requirement, because sharing campfire stories in the dark, deep talks, that's also what camping is all about. So you'll be just fine if you don't have any games. And that's pretty much it. Again, all of the stuff that I have camping wise, I put in the description. If you're balling on a budget, if you have the money to spend, go for it. Do your research, get the best quality tent, sleeping bag, whatever, and you'll be just fine. Remember, your car is gonna be literally 10 feet away from you. So if you need anything, you can just go get it. All right, you'll be just fine. This is not a lost, deserted island type of situation, folks. Good luck. If you need anything, I'll be right there with you. Just kidding, I probably will not be anywhere near you, so definitely make sure you pack enough stuff to be okay. But good luck, and let me know how your first camping experience goes in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Oh, oh dude, you... One hand. Ah! Oh, I don't know if you want to start from there, dude. It's harder to do from there. Ah! There we go. GG's, GG's. Well done. Oh, I was just high-fiving you.
Oh. I got one more in me.
Oh, we chilling.
That's how we roll. Kaput cast. Ice in these veins.